さあやりましょう。もうね覚えてないんだよ、どこからやるのか。病院を抜けてのとこからか。はい、このムービーは見たな。うわ、音が怖いさ、おい。はい。
That nightmare again. I need a drink.
といったところでなんですよね。なんですかこれは。なんですかここは。なんですかここは。OK、そうそう、思い出してきた。青木思い出してきた。
No. I want to know what Bradley and Dr. Colden have to say about all this.
なるほど。どこにいんのそれで。いたわ。
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
I found a Darkwater PD badge. Lost a colleague recently?
What the...
Bradley.
Ethan?
I'm all right. I just had a... It's gone.
You're sure?
If it's important, it'll come back. But I can't explain why Dr. Fuller would have that badge.
The man's a danger, believe me.
What can we do, Pierce?
Definitely 絶対に無理だから。
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
I found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes. I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the truth, Ethan. And I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course. He's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins. And that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
I didn't see what, but something was there, with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
You're right. Without a plausible explanation for what I saw, let's not jump to conclusions.
That seems wise indeed.
Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
飲む。3ポイント持ってる。イエーイ。 ってるね、小気道。小気道、何どうすればいいの？めっちゃしかないけど。はい、話を聞きに行きましょう。じゃあ
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders? I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other.
Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday. I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
I expected to find you more grief-stricken than this by the death of your husband.
I do not like the tone of your allusion, sir. I had long months to weep every tear in my body, and to accept, if not my fate, at least that of my husband. And so I'm sorry to disappoint you if you're expecting more hysteria and grieving widow in my voice. Rest assured, however, my anger is real. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute. And right before your eyes. Did you not do anything to help him?
So ask Fuller. He's the eminent doctor. But I would caution you. You'll find his treatments more terrifying than the illnesses he sets out to cure.
That churl no longer takes the trouble to receive me. He sends his secretary to tell me that I cannot see Francis. Me. His own widow. He must think that I am a terrible wife for having abandoned him in such a way. But I only wanted what was best for him.
I'm not here to condemn you, Mrs. Sanders.
Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
May I ask you what Miss Baker is doing here? How do you know her?
My business with Miss Baker is private, Mr. Pierce.
But you do know what kind of business Miss Baker is in, don't you?
I am no fool. Please believe that much, at least.
How did you come to meet Sarah Hawkins?
We were the wealthiest and most influential families on Darkwater. Of course we would know each other. And when Charles returned from Europe with his sweet little artist, she and her sinister paintings were destined to catch my husband's eye. He bought many of her works over the last 5 years. They adorn his macabre gallery.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can't imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long. Did she really care for him after all? The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives. Friends, even? A house of artists. A house of artists. A house of artists. A house of artists.
Oh.
Xander's accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler. Finally. What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? Was she jealous of Sarah Hawkins? The Shambler. I need to see it. Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take any more. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take any more. I can't hold him back.
こうか。こうだったよな。
Irene, I made a mistake.
違う？
I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take anymore.
違うな。 こうじゃなかった今。
Irene, I made a mistake.
もう一回行こ
I fear
これむ
that
ずい
it
な。
might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take anymore.
こうか。違うよな。これ必要かこれ。必要なさそう。で。ここはギャラリー。あれ違う。違う。ほら。え？何ですか？何ですか？何ですか今の。おい、小桁下がったって。トラウマ出てきたって。ふざけんな。あくんかい。
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary. A strange Amerindian pendant.
これもわかると。
I could use one of those. Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
Another painting by Sarah Hawkins. One connected to the horrors I've discovered on this island.
What a surprise. I'm listening.
There's more than that, Miss Baker.
So people have been talking behind my back. I was almost beginning to like you, Mr. Pierce. But it stays cat for you.
You knew the Sanders?
Irene is a friend of mine.
And you? What brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network, and a means of transport to the mainland. A choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say? Not now, sweetheart. I'd like to read this without some snoop looking over my shoulder.
キモい絵多すぎるだろ。鍵かかってんかい、ここも。いや、鍵かかってるんかい、全部。出口。ここに本があるんだよな。俺この本見たいね。あ、間違えた。みたいな感じなんだよな。でもさ、そのスピードで弾けないんで、普通に。話になってくるからな、普通に。もうここ行くしかないってことだよな、これな。あとはな。はい。何ですか？なんでですか？はあ、あれか。
The public entrance to the gallery. These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times. The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery. Why was he so interested in old weapons?
キモくない？くそ。バイオハザードじゃねえか。
What the hell was that?
なんだお前。なんだお前。なんだお前、どうすりゃいいんだよお前。うわびっくりした。死んだ。おいちょっと待って。殺し方わからんて。もう殺し方わからんて。
What the hell was that? Damn. Did it hear that? Maybe I can use this dagger.
네, 무리자. ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って。は？ ×を押せばいいのか。×を押せばいけるか。ちょっと待っておい、どうすりゃいいんだよこれ。これはスキップしましょう。
What the hell was that? Damn. Did it? Maybe I can use this dagger.
逃げろ。近い。ねえ、だって使えないじゃん。待ってくれ、頼むって。どうやって使うんだ俺。おい、ふざけんなよ。射撃ボタン押したって射撃しねえじゃねえかよ。なんか構えるだけなんだけど。どうなってんだよマジで。これマジでどうすんのこれ。マジで怖いんだけど本当に。もうやめてほしいほんとこれ。
What the hell was that? Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger.
お願いします。すいませんでした。バレた。ねえすいませんでしたっ
What
て
the
言っ
hell
て
was
るじゃん。
that?
超近くにいるじゃんこれ。いや待って、でも入ってられないこれ。
Maybe I can use this dagger.
頼む。来るなら早く来てこれ。来てるわ。あいつキモいだろ普通に。こうでしょ。
Damn it!
使えなかったってなんだバカ。ちょっと待って無理使えなかったって何。 怖い普通にもう使えなかったって何？使えないってなんだよ、腹立つなもうなんだよあれ。マジで怖いから普通に。もう嫌や、嫌だ普通に、普通に嫌。もう怖いよ普通に、普通に怖いよ。替えタバコ吸おう。あの中に正解があるってことなのかな。正解わかんないじゃんね。どれだよ。こっからなんだよね。こっからなんだよね。
What the hell was that?
ちょっと無理じゃんそれは。ずるいじゃんそれは。
What the hell was that? This dagger looks different.
そっちから出るのやめてくんないかな。そっちに行きたいんだ、絵に行きたいんだからさ。バレたよね今ね。俺バレたよね今ね。バレたよね今ね。バレてないのかな。奇跡が起きた。バレてない。まずせめてこれだけはさせてくれ、頼む。おい、どうや合ってた、正解。奇跡。嘘。行くの？
What's the matter with you?
マジで怖
You
い。
sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
I ran, screamed, broke a pane of glass. You were in the next room and you didn't hear a thing.
If I hadn't heard a thing, I'd still be in the other room. The door was blocked. I got in as soon as I could. I like to look after my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I still got things to settle with Irene.
Where's the bookseller?
はあ、きつすぎる。はあ、辛すぎ。笑った。小気道どうな、まだいけてる。はあ、俺は正気じゃないけどね。怖すぎる。
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary. Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century. The Book of Zion is the foundational work behind Helena Blavatsky's Theosophical movement. Its followers place truth on the same footing as a religion. What does this strange book contain? This book contains unholy knowledge. What happened here?
気持ち悪い。めっちゃゴキブリやん。
A strange amulet. I have a feeling I'd better not touch it.
はい、最近入ります。
Let's start over. Where did they break in from? Blood. Seems like amateur work. Someone tall left this footprint. A man, probably. No sign of struggle. If the burglar smashed this jar, it wasn't intentionally. Was he hurt then? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work? What killed all these animals? What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene?
何ですか?
What the... Charles Hawkins? Looks like the symbol rejected Hawkins. Where did I see it? What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess? Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe. Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case.
やばいやばいやばい、なんかノイズがすごい。
Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
以下は重大事項である。これを読んでいる者がいて、私ほどのこれ読めない俊敏じゃないんだこれな。なんだこれ。鋭敏。こんな感じ。読めねえよ。知ってきたならば、私の最も貴重な所有物を手にするがよい。金庫の中だ。鍵番号の手がかりは3本のシリンダーにある。
Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills? What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet? Arkham editions. Never heard of them. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham editions. Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them. Things are not looking good. A kind of chalice. Things are not looking good.
どこにもう一個シリンダーがあるんだ。やばいやばい、小気度めっちゃ下がってる、マジで。診断持ってたわ全部。
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny. Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them. And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny. Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
3かな。
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
これなんだ9だ。
What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. The Chalice of Knowledge.
赤い539か549かなっていうことでいいのかな。 合ってました。何ですか？あ、
This man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller? It's his patient, after all.
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do. Mr. Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
What can you tell me about him?
He was highly agitated an hour ago. We were about to tie him down when he fell asleep. 10 minutes ago, he curled up into a fetal position. I thought he was waking up, but no.
I don't recognize him. Did he just arrive on the island?
He said he worked on the docks, but not with Captain Fitzroy. I think he works for Ms. Baker.
Who?
You know, the woman at the head of their gang. They call her Cat.
Oh, I see.
Do you have other questions?
What are his symptoms?
His temperature has been going down, his skin losing its color, his body rigid. I closed his eyes myself. They were glassing over. I didn't want them to dry out, and I couldn't bear to look at the expression on his face.
You did well. Don't worry. Let's stay professional, if you will. Show me his file.
That's not possible.
Don't tell me Dr. Fuller has taken this file as well. We need it.
That's why I called you. This man's ailment has been hidden from us.
Come on now. What was he treated for?
An intoxication, I was told, after inhaling chemicals.
That'll do for the time being.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
Did you inject him with a tranquilizer?
No, Doctor. Not me, not anyone. Our stock is empty, yet again.
Again? But there was enough for the whole island.
More and more people are suffering from insomnia. We can't refuse to help.
Of course.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
Very well. I'll examine him. Severe malnutrition. Swollen abdomen with traces of petechia. Doesn't seem like an edema. Slight protuberances seem to indicate the presence of a foreign body. His fingertips and toes seem to feature a slight ring under the skin. Tender at the touch. Slightly sticky. 30-year-old subject. Severe hypothermia. Erythematous papules around the eyes and eardrums. Necrosed palpebral tissue. Lord, this smell.
So, Doctor, an opinion?
I'm not sure I have the necessary knowledge to treat this man.
Don't say that. You're our most worthy doctor, after Dr. Fuller.
Some of his symptoms are beyond my comprehension.
What did you find?
Did you examine his abdomen? It would seem there's something inside.
He hasn't eaten in days. Are you certain it's not an edema?
No. Can't you recognize an edema? Pushing with your finger won't leave a trace. And look at these bumps.
It's not like he could be pregnant.
Whatever it is, this man has something inside him that shouldn't be there. We should operate on him at once.
Dr. Fuller said not to worry, that the edema would go away by itself.
You know, I'm not sure Dr. Fuller is telling the truth. In spite of the muscle contractions, his arms seem limp.
Yes. They can't have decalcified, not at this rate.
And yet, if there is a bone in this arm, it's softer than that of a newborn baby. What about his cranium?
It's soft at the touch. It does seem like the skull of a baby.
Look at these sticky rings growing at his fingertips. What can be happening?
I'm sure you'll find an explanation. You have to.
I see signs of hypodermoclysis, but he's still dehydrated. When was his last IV?
He's constantly under perfusion. I've even gone beyond the recommended dose to no avail. And you won't believe me, but when we bathed him earlier...
He seemed to feel better?
Yes. Like he needs an aquarium, not a perfusion. But that doesn't explain his condition.
I almost don't believe it myself, but these symptoms are not those usually associated with the human species.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you believe in extraterrestrials.
No. This poor man is from our world, all right. But his body is undergoing unnatural mutations. And this transformation is killing him. His body simply can't cope.
Where could he have gotten such an infection?
I pray that it's not here.
Dr. Colden, may I know what you're doing to my patient?
What I'm doing? How about what you've done to him?
Let us calm down, my dear Marie. I don't appreciate your tone, nor your insinuations. I've done to him what I do to all my patients. Provide him with the best available care.
Your imagination is without limit. It's your homemade drug again, is it not? Those people are not your guinea pigs.
There, there. What have you seen to put you in such a state?
His limbs His body temperature? I don't know what experiments you've undertaken, but this is going too far.
Oh, I sense some excitement beneath your indignation. Could it be you wish to join me in my scientific endeavors?
You are a brilliant physician, Dr. Fuller, but this man has the attributes of some kind of animal.
Fascinating. An animal, you say? Could you be more precise? Cephalopod, perhaps?
This amuses you.
Your reaction does. I know your thirst for knowledge, Doctor. It's your innocent worries for this man that have you overreacting.
For this man, and the others whose medical files you've been hiding.
I have to protect my discovery. These people owe me their life, but the world isn't ready yet. It will be, in time.
I will not let you do this.
You disappoint me, Marie, but I still have hope you'll one day share my point of view. In the meantime, take care of your own patients and try not to forget who you're dealing with.
Was that a threat? What did he mean?
It was a warning. Dr. Fuller is this institution's founder and one of our profession's most influential voices. My word is of no weight against his. If I continue to protest, I will only ruin my reputation and career.
It's scandalous. Can't we do anything? Is there no evidence of his crimes?
Don't you get involved in this. You've done enough already.
But Doctor, this man is dying.
There's nothing we can do about it. He's in the hands of Dr. Fuller. Do you wish to end up like Elizabeth? With a diploma from Nightingale and the chores of a cleaning lady?
No. You're right.
Let me do my own investigation. It's time I found those missing files.
And where would you find those? In his office? What if you get caught?
I'd rather not think about that. I'm counting on your discretion.
Of course, Doctor. You can count on me. I'll keep mum.
An unknown medicine. Judging by the other ones, it causes heavy side effects. This place draws you in and never lets you go. Chronic insomnia, like half the island.
Doctor, please. My chest. Oh.
His perfusion of a semi-physiological solution doesn't seem to work. He's undergoing a ventricular fibrillation. His potassium level is too high. Replace it with 2% glucose solution with insulin, calcium, and sodium bicarbonate.
I'll tend to it right away.
Thank you. He's in your hands. Hay fever. What's he doing here? He broke his back in an accident down by the docks.
Ah, a whaling station. What's wrong with me?
What are you talking about?
Doctor, that you?
Yes, it's Dr. Colden. Tell me what happened.
It's the old whaling station. See?
What did you see there?
Nothing. Nothing at all. The floor was all rotten and I fell straight through.
And that's how you broke your back.
Perhaps. No idea. Passed out.
Why did nobody tell me about her admission? Mrs. Sanders? She recently came back from the surgical block. She's stable. Given her file, a nephrectomy would have been inevitable. But Fuller was able to save her kidney. What is the boiler room key doing here? The key to the boiler room. Not where I expected to find it. Intoxication from breathing organic vapors.
Dr. Colden, here you are at last. This patient was again brought up to the psychiatric wing. We've been following the treatment you prescribed, but the dysgeusia persists and he's lost a great deal of weight. We haven't been able to move him. The stress makes him hyperallergic.
Sir, I am going to examine you. Do you understand? Inject him with a dose of pentobarbital, intramuscular, so that I can conduct the clinical examination. What?
So, Doctor, what should we do with this patient?
You did good work. The tranquilizer is kicked in. Now you can disinfect and bandage his wounds.
Thank you, Doctor. And as to his weight loss?
I'll prescribe an antifungal treatment for his dysgeusia. In the meantime, feed him intravenously.
It'll be done.
Ethan,
Marie,
what are you doing here?
I'm waiting for my medication, of course. Why?
You're not here for treatment, right?
Am I so obvious?
Only to me. I know you worry about me.
I trust you. I'm happy to see you.
Me too, Ethan. Is that all?
Well, there might be something else. I'm not sure.
Tell me.
I have nightmares. They keep me awake every night. It seems stupid, I know, but they're terrible.
Actually, you're not the only one.
No. No one has ever seen the things I see. It's like I'm turning mad.
With everything that happened to you these last days, it's no wonder you're feeling stressed.
Maybe.
Everyone in Darkwater is suffering from nightmares.
Really?
We don't have any medication left.
Oh. There's no excuse then. I should let you work.
Take care, Ethan.
You too, Marie.
I don't get why they have us waiting so long. Almost no patients here.
Where did my fiancée go? I hope those nutcases will stop burdening her with work.
It's a quiet little town. Days go by, steady as ever. I wanted more for myself, but...
Dr. Colden. sorry, but nobody can take anything until I finish the inventory. Please, the fewer interruptions there are, the faster I'll be finished.
This man, Edward Pierce, his file is incomplete. What did Fuller do to him? In theory, this is where we hang the key to the boiler room. Dr. Fuller always keeps his key with him.
Dr. Colden, we need you at once in Dormitory B.
What is the problem?
Mr. Evans seems to be having trouble with his IV.
I've done an exam. Deborah is looking after him.
And the family of Mrs. Harding is asking to see her medical file.
I'll never understand why it's so hard to see patients' files around here.
Rules are rules. See, with Dr. Fuller, he's in charge. Anyhow, they're still waiting, and I don't think they'll leave until they get what they want.
Understood. Anything else?
As a matter of fact, yes. A man has been brought up from the basement.
I saw him, yes. It's always the same thing. They bring them up, without any explanation, with a multitude of self-inflicted injuries. We take care of the wounds, and then they leave. Each time, I feel like I'm sending them back to hell.
Their affliction is not our responsibility. You cannot save everybody, Doctor.
Let's hope I can go through the administration office. I don't have any business in the boiler room.
No, you're pulling my leg. I'm not joking. I saw the schedule. She's alone in the bathroom again. And she still says nothing to that old witch, Donovan?
Oh, listen to the way you talk, you naughty girl. And the answer is no. You can imagine that she doesn't dare say a thing. That silly goose lets herself be tried.
Oh well, at least we won't have to clean for a while.
You just wait and see the next time the water's cut off. It's a real show.
The answers must be hidden in Fuller's office.
Everybody says it. She's a witch, an old hag. I didn't make...
Elizabeth? You all right? Why is this room in such a state?
Because, as always, I'm cleaning it by myself. And the water was once again shut off this morning. I had to bother Mrs. Donovan again, giving her a new excuse to belittle me.
Do you really need Mrs. Donovan to open a valve? Why not ask the janitor?
I can't make these decisions without her approval. Imagine if there were a leak. Anyhow, the boiler room is locked half the time. So every time the water gets shut off, I have to go and endure her reproach until she's settled the problem.
I see. Courage, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Doctor.
It's temperamental, if I understand correctly. The door to the boiler room is locked. key to the boiler room. Not where I expected to find it. The key to the boiler room. Not where I expected to find it. Patients and hospital personnel eat the same food.
Everybody says it. She's a witch, an old hag. I didn't make this up. And I'm the one who pays. What a pest. It's so
Wait a minute. Where do you think you're going? Dr. Colden.
Mrs. Donovan.
Nobody goes into Dr. Fuller's office. But rest assured, I'll tell him you came by.
That won't be necessary. Thank you.
I will tell him, nonetheless. I have little time for you, Doctor. You'll find out that it's not only the doctors who have things to do.
The door to the boiler room is locked. Where did I see that key? Ah, yes. The office in Block B. The key to the boiler room. All I have to do is shut off the water and hope Donovan takes the bait. We're running out of this medicine.
I know, Doctor. We sent the purchase order, though, but Mrs. Donovan refused it.
Once again.
Can't you do anything?
Donovan takes her instructions directly from Dr. Fuller. I'm afraid I can do nothing about it for the moment. We've been waiting to be restocked for weeks. I can't shut this with my bare hands. I need a tool.
Says it. She's a witch, an old hag. I didn't make this up. And I'm the one who pays. What a pest. It's so unfair.
It's temperamental, if I understand correctly. The answers must be hidden in Fuller's office.
I'll just sleep a bit more.
Dogって何?
Another insomniac. I should find the cause for such a widespread trouble.
It's a quiet little town. Days go by, steady as ever. I wanted more for myself, but...
Is everything all right, Ethan?
Yeah, I know I should go.
I will work until late.
Oh. All right.
Where did my fiancée go? I hope those nutcases will stop burdening her with work.
I feel guilty about Elizabeth, but I need the diversion.
Dr. Colden?
Dr. Colden, might there be a problem with the water?
I was about to mention it. It seems it's been cut off yet again.
I can't take this, Marie. I feel I'm gonna burst.
It's not your fault if we have defective plumbing.
And yet, I'm the one who gets punished because I'm gonna have to square off with that annoying old witch. Courage, Elizabeth. Here we go. And hold your tongue this time. Mrs. Donovan?
I'm busy. Elizabeth, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. But it's about the water.
What now?
It's off. It's not my fault.
Nothing is ever your fault. I told you to control the flow, even if I know it's not your strong point.
I've apologized 1,000 times.
I haven't counted that many, but then unlike you, I don't have time to keep track.
Please, Mrs. Donovan. I'm grateful to you for having kept me on despite that incident. I just need the water to be put back on. Otherwise, the bathroom will quickly become a nest of germs.
Oh, very well. I'll finish what I'm doing, and then I'll fix your blunders once more.
Thank you, ma'am.
Out of my sight. Go chatter with your colleagues. That's what you do best.
At last. The missing files must be hidden here. Something is wrong with these masts. It's some sort of puzzle. I've unlocked something. Patient files. I was right.
Conclusions. Session number 17. Patient? Sarah Hawkins. The patient appears to have finally accepted the illusory nature of what she calls the mythos. It goes without saying that these peculiar delusions are the price that comes with her exceptional gifts.
Why does Dr. Fuller write psychological reports about Sarah Hawkins?
At first, I presumed that her blood was the key. But I found nothing to explain Mrs. Hawkins' abilities.
気になるこの靴が。
The poor souls downstairs are not Fuller's only subjects.
Then James came. I read that Charles was keeping secrets from him. I presume that he will try to break into the basement sooner or later. I am prepared.
Hawkins, Fitzroy, and Fuller. What is the connection between these three?
It is fortunate that I had the presence of mind to set the morgue in the basement. When all the fuss about the Hawkins incident finally comes to an end, I will dispose of her belongings. In the meantime, they must remain hidden in plain sight.
Of course. Sarah Hawkins is the connection. I must go back to the basement. I should go another way. The operating room is never accessible after an operation. I should go another way.
どこから近いかな。こうか。
That's the Marie that I know. I knew I could count on your scientific curiosity. It's time to show you what you were so eager to discover.
If you're gonna shoot me, at least have the decency to look me in the eyes.
Turn around. Slowly. Talk, filthy thief! Oh, I swear I'll shoot!
Take a minute to look around. Everything points to Charles Hawkins.
He's dead.
No. He was here for a very specific item.
Oh, no.
The book. Why was it in the safe?
Have you read it?
Answer the question.
How foolish of you. Now you won't be able to escape his will. What did it show you?
She went into Fuller's office. She was looking for Sarah Hawkins' corpse.
Sarah Hawkins, you say? Let's go back to the start, shall we? Whose life did the Necronomicon choose to show you?
Dr. Colden. She was at the Riverside Institute. She's in danger. I have to go.
Wait. No one knows the occult better than me. You might need my help.
All right. All right. I might need you after all.
Perfect. Let's meet later at the Hawkins mansion. Now go. Rescue the doctor.
Thank you, Drake. I pray that Colden is really here and alive. An old diary.
Yes. はあ、眠たいから寝ましょうかね。続きはまた今度。